Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture. Coming up today, we're going to talk Curtis Axel's release from WWE, The Rock's new NBC show going head-to-head with WWE Raw, scamp. The Wednesday Night War ratings, those are in, and also WWE have filed to oppose a number of trademarks filed by the Revolt.
Plus, the real reason Sami Zayn hasn't been on SmackDown recently, the lowest rated segment in Raw's history, happened this week. I'm going to tell you what it was. Cody Rhodes has had his say on Heath, Slater and Zack Ryder in AEW, and when you can expect the Revolt versus the Young Bucks. This is the news.
And let's start things off by talking about Mr. Curtis Axel. Released from the company last night. Pretty typical statement. WWE has come to terms on the release of Curtis Axel. WWE wishes him all the best in his future endeavors. So this sounds like a fresh release, perhaps not one of the Black Wednesday releases of April 15th that went unreported. Seems like a new one because they've announced it themselves. So, Curtis Axel, been with WWE since 2007. That's crazy. Been through a lot of different phases. Michael McGillicuddy, that was a thing. We all remember the famous genesis of the beginning of Right Now of that promo. He was an Intercontinental Champion, Ryder, that was a thing. He was a member of the B Team most recently. He, obviously, the Miz Taraj as well, that was tremendous fun. And rumour has it that he is still competing in that Royal Rumble that he was never eliminated from. So, strange situation. I think he's had a strange WWE career because he's, the son of Mr. Perfect. And WWE absolutely love their third generation, he's third generation star. They love wrestlers with that kind of lineage, and it's something that they just never really made the most of. He had the better than perfect thing for a while, but I mean, when you've got a guy whose name is Joe Hennig, maybe you just call him Joe Hennig and refer to that directly instead of, Curtis Axel refers to Larry the Axe Hennig and his father, Kurt. But man, it just feels like something they never really capitalized on. Now, I'm not sure if Curtis Axel could ever have been more than he was. He was a great enhancement guy. It didn't quite work at higher levels on the card, but at the same time, you got to at least try with these people, right? I mean, he just kind of give up on him really quickly.
Yeah, it was a weird time, like you say, when he changed from being Michael McGillicuddy and in the Nexus and all that bollocks. He thought, okay, maybe they'll, repackage him. Yes, as a version of Mr. Perfect, because, like you said, he's his son at the end of the day. Yeah. But they never really did that. It'd be interesting to see what he's going to do on the independent circuit, whether he's going to lean into that, whether he's going to craft a completely new character for himself. But we spoke about yesterday about more WWE releases potentially being on the cards, and to be, nothing against the guy, but he'd kind of, run his course in WWE. I can't think of anything that he could have brought him back in for, like you say, other than enhancement talent, and they've already got quite a few guys who can do that sort of thing. So, as sad as it sounds, if you had to pick someone from the current roster that you thought may well be released, his name probably does come to mind. But like you say, former Intercontinental Champion, former Tag Team Champion. There was, what was it, the Social Outcasts? Was the other
Social Outcasts was the thing. They were fun as well because Heath Slater was in them and he's awesome. And it's a shame that they don't find roles for these kind of like enhancement guys, because they're so much fun. On TV, like 1 minute every 2 weeks or whatever, that's fine. Just, I don't know, man. It does suck. But as you say, man, like he hadn't been used since late February. It's not a massive surprise that they've let him go. Here's hoping whatever he does next is better for him and better for everyone.
Exactly, as we've said with all these WWE releases and furloughs and what have you, if you're a fan of his, go and support him. No doubt on his social media you can find links to, Pro Wrestling Tees or anything like that, because as much as he's been with the company for a long time, he now has no job as of right now, so he needs all the support he can get in this tough time. Right, let's move on and talk about Sami Zayn, conspicuous by his absence on SmackDown recently. You may remember we were talking about this a while back, and I said that I'd seen on his social media that he was tweeting about the fact he's had wisdom teeth out, but that is not the real reason he hasn't been appearing regularly on SmackDown. He did miss one show as a result of having that tooth or teeth out, but he's not on SmackDown because he doesn't want to be there. We mentioned in the past that WWE have told their employees, look, with the ongoing global situation being as it is, if you don't want to come and work, if you are concerned for your health and well-being, or for those you are associated with, then you do not have to come in. And he, just like Roman Reigns, slightly different situation. Obviously, Roman is immunocompromised, but yeah, Sami has taken WWE up on that offer. Be very interesting to see how WWE handles this coming back, because we've sort of, whenever we spoke about this, implied the old leaning of WWE saying, you don't have to come in, but if you don't, I guess someone else will have to take your spot. He's Intercontinental Champion right now. He merits being Intercontinental Champion right now. There are a load of phenomenal stories you can have with him as Intercontinental Champion right now. But we talked about this before we started. A bit like Sami for Syria, this strikes me as another mark against his record. Not that he should have one. He's mint. And also, I bet he's going, go on then, release me. Release me and see what happens.
Yeah, I guess the coming months will be a test of how truthful WWE were when they said, hey, you can take this time off, no problem, lads. Considering they banned the mention of Roman Reigns' name on TV for some reason, and considering they didn't even send the guy home, like he had to do it himself, which is insane. I'm always dubious about these things with WWE because they don't deserve the level of trust as a corporation. They just let dozens of people go when they clearly didn't have to. And you're being intellectually dishonest with yourself if you're going to argue that, because the numbers are there, the financials are there now. I hope nothing bad comes of this. I miss him on TV, man. Like, you know, the stuff with Gulak and Bryan and Cesaro and Nakamura, it's all been really good, but Sami's been a huge part of that. So I miss the fella. Hope to see him back soon.
I completely understand him not being there, but like you say, he really had hit his stride on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And you know, that match with Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania was very different, and I kind of like that as, you know, him crying off for the majority of the match and then just stealing one towards the end.
Yeah.
Look, you know, the Roman Reigns stuff I can sort of understand from WWE's position, because it's sort of like out of sight, out of mind, and then when he has a return, which hopefully will be once things are all sorted out, which is hopefully soon, it will be arguably even more impactful. But WWE, look, you've had a hell of a lot of bad press already this year. Don't screw this up with Sami when he comes back.
Yeah, be nice. For what? One time, be nice, please, please. Something that might not be so nice for WWE is news via TV listings that The Rock's second season of Titan Games, which he presents and produces, is going to go head-to-head with Raw from the 25th of May onwards. Can't imagine Vince McMahon is going to be too pleased about that. So the 25th of May is the Season 2 premiere. It's a 2-hour special that night, running from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. After that, 8 to 9 on NBC. If you want to know roughly what this might mean for WWE and this show going head-to-head with it, it's got The Rock on it, obviously. 6 million viewers that show averaged in its first season. Dave Meltzer writes in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that the show wasn't originally going to go out in this time slot, but there's no live sports at the moment, so NBC were like, let's bump it up a little bit. So, interesting. I guess we'll find out when these things clash how many wrestling fans are watching Titan Sports and how many of them, Titan Games, sorry, and how many of them would prefer to watch that than Raw at the moment.
Exactly. It's going to be fascinating considering Raw's dwindling ratings. I suppose now is as good a time as any to announce that I'm in the Titan Games. Obviously, look at the state of me. I'm obviously going to be one of the best at being a big, swole guy.
Man.
I'll tell you what, I love The Rock. He's my favourite ever wrestler. I've mentioned this on many an occasion. But he's doing his best right now to being removed from WWE history. You know, when they just fall out with someone and they go, what? Hulk Hogan? Nope, never heard of him.
Yeah.
Like, he talked about AEW the other week. He's now going head-to-head with Monday Night Raw. Oh, this could get even worse for WWE. And that is coupled with my next news story about the Raw ratings and the lowest rated segment in Monday Night Raw history. Never thought I'd be saying that. We reported the other day about the dipping of Raw rating. It wasn't the worst ever, but it was pretty bloody close. And it's been revealed that Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre's contract signing from this Monday's show for the WWE Championship match at Money in the Bank was awful. It drew a paltry 1.539 million as the show went off the air. As I said, the lowest rated in brand history, beating Paul Heyman, bigging up Brock Lesnar before WrestleMania 36 was that, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Interesting other stuff that was surrounding this. The most watched segment was Bobby Lashley destroying Denzel DeJournette, and the thing that dropped the most viewers was that video package all about Becky Lynch, which may suggest that people possibly are kind of getting a bit fed up with her as Raw Women's Champion. Just my opinion, to be honest there. And I'm kind of disappointed that it's turned out that it's Drew and Seth's contract signing that's drawn such awful numbers, because it was going down. It wasn't like, oh, this is going great, this is going great, this is going great, contract signing through the floor. It was already just dwindling. It just happened to be the last thing on the show. And for me, it was one of the best things on the show this week.
Yeah. I wonder if a lot of people just go, contract signings, seen 700 of those before. We all know how they go. Someone flips the table. There's a brawl. This week we got the nice Murphy comeback to give it a little extra spicy zest. But other than that, I think a lot of people look at contract signings and just go, screw this, I know what's going to happen. But it was a good segment, so it is a shame. And I think Drew's doing a good job as world champion as well. So
yes,
double
this
shame.
is no reflection on him or Seth Rollins either. I think Seth's been a wonderful heel to Drew's WWE champion. So nothing on the competitors themselves, just on a generally poor episode of Monday Night Raw, really.
Absolutely. So we got the Wednesday Night War ratings as well. We might as well get all the ratings chat out of the way. Not a lot to break down here. Going to buzz through them. AEW was on 600. They won on both levels. 693,000, which is down 5% from last week. NXT 637,000 average viewers, down 4%. The number that really matters, of course, is the 18 to 49 demographic. That's how shows are ranked. That's the KPI, the key KPI. Key performance. Shut up, Andrew. AEW 0.27 rating. That's actually up from the previous week. NXT was down to 0.16. A total of 1.33 million watched live wrestling on Wednesday night, the second lowest since October when this Wednesday Night War kicked in. So people don't want to watch empty arena wrestling, is the conclusion.
No, exactly. Look, congratulations to AEW. I just missed the days where we got, 1.7 million, 1.8 million. And I suppose the big test, Andy, is how the ratings are next week. We've got big things on both shows. We've got Matt Hardy's in-ring debut for AEW alongside Kenny Omega taking on Le Sex Gods. We've got the return of MJF. We've got the return of Jon Moxley, who's in action against Frankie Kazarian. And then over on NXT, you've got Johnny Gargano versus Dominik Dijakovic, the return of Finn Balor, and 2 World Championship matches. Charlotte Flair versus Io Shirai, and the Velveteen Dream challenging Adam Cole. I can't wait for next Wednesday.
It's going to be a big one.
Right, let's speed round some of the other stories quickly. The Young Bucks and the Revolt, we all know it's eventually going to happen in AEW. It's been teased that the Revolt, keep wanting to say the Revival, we're going to appear in AEW. That was teased on Being the Elite this week, of course. And according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter and our friend Dave Meltzer, that is going to happen, quote, sooner rather than later. The goal was always to come together, these two tag teams, of course. The Revival were campaigning for the release in WWE for ages because they knew, well, Young Bucks aren't going to be coming here, especially considering how they were treated in TNA. So once AEW got set up, they just wanted to go there. And Dave says that point is now. Please don't put this match on before crowds can come back. I want to see it, but not to an empty arena. Yeah, it's a shame. I hope it doesn't go down that way as well. But it sounds like they're firing straight in, maybe on Being the Elite. Speaking of the Revolt, some other news surrounding them here. WWE have filed opposition to trademark applications filed by the Revolt when they were still known as the Revival. These were filed in January and February by Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood. There we go. So the ones in question are No Flips, Just Fists, FTRKO, and Say Yeah. They've all been opposed by WWE. They've been granted 90-day extensions to complete their opposition, which means that they have 3 months of this thing on ice. No great surprises here. No Flips, Just Fists was a t-shirt in WWE. So of course they've gone after that. Say Yeah. The motif, the sting of their ring entrance, it was on the back of a t-shirt as well. And FTRKO was Randy Orton. So I don't know why the Revolt went after that one. But yeah, there we go. Already can see what's going to happen here. FTRKO, let WWE have that. Say Yeah, all right. Well, guess what? In AEW, they say yes. And instead of No Flips, Just Fist, I'll tell you what, you can have our phrase. No flippy dippy doodahs, just fisty disty doodahs.
Fisty disty diddles.
Let's move on and talk about the potential of seeing Heath, Slater and Zack Ryder in AEW. Cody Rhodes has been having his say on that. Talking about Zack Ryder is fascinating. The full quote is up at WhatCulture.com now. Well worth a read. He's talking about how Zack Ryder is the best. He's got over 2 million followers on Twitter and over 1 million followers on Instagram. He's one of my only really close friends in wrestling. And Cody talks basically about the fact that, yeah, look, he'd love to have Zack in AEW, but he doesn't want it to just be because he's his mate. He says this can't be all friends wrestling. You have to handle it the best way. I think and hope our paths will cross down the road. He's just entering Rest of the Prime. Men's Rest of the Prime is 35 to 40. So it sounds like a maybe, but certainly not yet for Zack Ryder. He was far clearer on Heath Slater, where he just said, nope, no on Heath Slater. Harsh.
You've got kids, Cody. You cold man. That's harsh. Very harsh. I love Heath Slater.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it makes a lot of sense. You know, you don't want it to just be Cody bringing all of his mates in just because he can. At the end of the day, AEW is a business. I think both men do genuinely have something to offer the company, but it's about timing it. This isn't, or you don't want this to be compared, yet again, I say this all the time, to TNA, just bringing in every WWE cast-off. I realise you have, obviously, a connection to Zack Ryder, but I completely agree with Cody. You need to bide your time and wait. And, you know, also give him a chance to just sort of enjoy, when it eventually bloody starts again, working on stuff like the indies, because that's what I hear from a lot of wrestlers, just getting back out there, wrestling on the independent circuit. It almost brings back your love for wrestling if you've been stuck somewhere where you haven't been allowed to do a lot of stuff. So interesting to see where we go from here. Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE, of course. First question today comes from Jason Kesey, who says, if the rumours are true that Vince, Stephanie and Triple H are being sued, assuming they all three had to drop off the board of directors, who would the next best person be to run the company? That is a genuinely, intriguing, complicated question. Jason, you must have never watched this show before.
Yeah, interesting one here. Well, it's not rumors. WWE, not necessarily these individuals, is being sued by several people and several parties. But to answer the question, obviously in good faith, Kevin Dunn? I mean, if you go on the WWE corporate website, it lists aside from Triple H, Stephanie and Vince, the other top 5 investors are Kevin Dunn and Frank Riddick III, who is the interim guy filling in for George Barrios and Michelle Wilson until they find a full-time replacement. So, Kevin Dunn!
Okay, not Shane?
I mean, there could be a change-up, but Shane isn't even an executive in WWE anymore. He's just a performer. Obviously, he's a family member and things can change, but Kevin Dunn, apparently.
Wow.
Jesus. Michael Cole, why not? Go on.
Byron Saxton, let Byron Saxton run the place. I love him at the moment.
Let's do it.
Wow, Kevin Dunn. I never thought that was going to be the answer. Or that Frank guy. I do like that Frank guy. I've been reading his diaries recently. They're so good. Check them out. The Chronicles of Riddick. Second question today comes from Jordan Booth, who says, what would your opinions be on a return of the championship scramble that was used at Unforgiven 2009? Personally, quite enjoyed the format. Could use people not usually seeing the title picture and allows for a tense finish. I'm all for this.
Yeah, it's a good little match type that hasn't been burned out, hasn't been overused, has barely been used, in fact. Yeah, all for this, especially for a mid-card belt as well. You can pass it around a couple of times, have a little fun with it. Brian Kendrick, technically a WWE champion after one of those things for a minute or whatever. So lots of cool stuff can happen. Yeah, bring them back.
Yeah, bring back the championship scramble. I really enjoyed that. Final question today comes from Rude E, who says, what are your guys' thoughts on WWE bringing back Mixed Match Challenge to fill airtime? Could definitely give many superstars something to do.
Yeah, Mixed Match Challenge was fun. It was just lighthearted. You didn't have to take it seriously. The wrestlers, just had a laugh. And you got weird stuff like The Miz and Asuka fanning around together. Yeah, I'm all for it. I think light-hearted, fun content at the moment is a very good shout indeed. Yeah,
exactly. It's like there are stakes. I don't want all that bollocks numbers on the Royal Rumble stuff. Obviously, that's not going to be the case right now. But anyway, I like that. I like the fact, like you say, it chucks random people together. You had Miz and Asuka. You had Braun and Alexa Bliss, of course. And yeah, one of my favourite things from the Mixed Match Challenge, you may have already seen it, is a backstage interview with Sami Zayn and Becky Lynch, where Sami is just trying to make Becky Lynch corpse and succeeds. I think everyone gets something out of it, not just the fans, but the wrestlers too. And like you say, you want something with stakes right now, but also, stuff that isn't that weighty and important because it sort of loses all relevance in the empty arena era. And plus, Mixed Match Challenge, if you had people like Asuka or I don't know. I'm just trying to think of people who talk during their matches. Asuka certainly, just even in someone's corner yelling is mint. Yeah. But someone like a Kevin Owens doing a running commentary is always good. So yeah, I like that as well. Good idea.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and I've got to give a shout out to Cam on Twitter at MiranJames1, who pointed out our new names. Let's just say Andy Murray. If you put the subtitles on for when we're talking, which no doubt many of our American viewers do, I'm apparently Anna Will Warner, and you are Andy Marry.
I'll take Andy Marry. That's a lot closer than I thought it would be. I thought I'd get some nonsense, but yeah, yours is nonsense. I love it.
Anna Will Warner. What could have been, eh?
If you watch the news with subtitles and see any more of this wackiness, please let us know. Always makes us laugh. Always makes us laugh.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Right, let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts, Wrestle Culture, complete with the bloody good quiz today, of course. And 4 p.m. live here on YouTube. It'll be myself, one of the Dadley boys, birthday boy Michael Hamflet, having a deserved break. Maybe Phil Chambers. Let's see if we can get Phil on, because he obviously does the SmackDown review, previewing tonight's episode of SmackDown on Fox and discussing any breaking news stories, and of course answering all your questions. So join us 4 p.m. live here on YouTube for that. Right, let us know all of your thoughts on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there. You can follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for hair. Imagine having it.
You can follow me at Anna Warm. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE, as I said. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thanks to you for watching, and we will see you soon.